The crystal wine glass shattered against the marble floor. Richard Hartwell clutched his throat, his face turning purple as he gasped for air. Around the dining table, his family froze in horror. But I didn't move. I just watched. Because this moment, this exact moment, was what I'd been waiting for my entire life. My name is Isabelle Chun. And the man choking in front of me? He's my father. The father who paid my mother to disappear. The father who pretended I didn't exist. The father who destroyed everything I ever loved. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back. Back to where this all began. I adjusted my maid's uniform in the mirror of the servants' quarters, barely recognizing myself. My long black hair was pulled into a tight bun, and I wore no makeup. Invisible. Forgettable. Exactly what I needed to be. The Hartwell mansion loomed around me. 15,000 square feet of marble, gold, and secrets. Through these halls walked the family that should have been mine. Richard Hartwell, tech billionaire, worth $8 billion. His son James, 28, heir to the empire. His daughter Madison, 25, an Instagram influencer who'd never worked a day in her life. And Vivienne LaCroix, 42, Richard's fiancée. A former model who'd clawed her way from poverty to the brink of unimaginable wealth. Then there was me, 19 years old. The secret. The mistake. The illegitimate daughter he paid to forget. My hands trembled as I picked up the cleaning supplies. I'd spent 6 months preparing for this. 6 months crafting a fake identity, forging references, getting hired through their agency. 6 months to get close enough to destroy them all. But I wasn't here for money. I was here for something much more valuable. Justice. I pushed the supply cart down the hallway, my footsteps silent on the plush carpet. Ahead, I could hear voices from Richard's study, raised angry. The wedding is in 3 weeks, Richard. 3 weeks, and you're telling me you want a prenup now? Vivienne's voice was shrill, desperate. It's just a precaution, darling. My lawyers insist. Your lawyers? Or that bastard son of yours? James has hated me from the beginning. I slowed my pace, stopping just outside the door. They couldn't see me, but I could hear everything. Vivienne, please. This is standard procedure for someone with my assets. I'm not some gold digger off the street. I've stood by you for 2 years. I've smiled through your boring charity galas. I've played stepmother to your ungrateful children. Her voice broke. Was she crying? I risked a glance through the crack in the door. Vivienne stood with her back to Richard, her shoulders shaking. But when she turned, I saw something that made my blood run cold. She wasn't crying. She was smiling. A cold, calculated smile that disappeared the instant she faced Richard again, replaced by tears. I love you, she whispered, moving toward him. Don't you love me? Richard's face softened. Of course I do. I'm sorry. No prenup. We'll sign the papers as planned. I pulled back, my heart racing. There was something wrong here. Something dangerous lurking beneath Vivienne's perfect surface. I could feel it. Well. Enjoying the show. I spun around. James Hartwell stood behind me, arms crossed, an amused smirk on his face. He was tall, handsome in that careless rich boy way, with dark hair and eyes that missed nothing. I was just cleaning, sir. I didn't mean to. Save it. He stepped closer, studying my face with unsettling intensity. You're new. What's your name? Isabelle. Isabelle Martinez, sir. The fake name tasted like poison on my tongue. Martinez. He rolled the name around like he was testing it for lies. You look familiar. Have we met before? My pulse hammered in my ears. Had he recognized me? I'd seen him once, years ago, when my mother and I had watched from across the street as the Hartwells left a restaurant. He'd been laughing, careless, free. Everything I wasn't. No, sir. I have one of those faces. He didn't look convinced, but a voice called from inside the study. James. Is that you? Coming, Dad. He gave me one last searching look before walking away. Stay out of trouble, Isabelle Martinez. I waited until he disappeared into the study, before I let out the breath I'd been holding. That was too close. I needed to be more careful. I needed to move faster. That evening, I stood in the shadows of the grand staircase, watching the Hartwells gather for dinner. They moved like actors in a play, each one performing their role perfectly. Richard, the patriarch, dispensing wisdom and orders. James, the dutiful son, nodding at all the right moments. Madison, checking her phone constantly, contributing nothing. And Vivienne, playing the perfect fiancée, touching Richard's arm, laughing at his jokes. They were beautiful, polished, perfect. And every single one of them was lying. I could see it in the tension of James's jaw when he looked at Vivienne, in the way Madison's smile never reached her eyes, in how Vivienne's hand tightened on her wine glass whenever Richard mentioned his children. This family was a bomb waiting to explode, and I was about to light the fuse. After dinner, I cleaned the dining room, collecting plates, wiping down surfaces. That's when I found it, Vivienne's phone, left on the sideboard. She must have forgotten it when she went upstairs. I should have left it alone. Should have called out that someone forgot their phone. But the investigator in me, the part that had spent 3 years digging into my mother's death, couldn't resist. I glanced around. No one was watching. With shaking hands, I picked up the phone. No pascode, eregent. I opened her messages. My blood turned to ice. The most recent conversation was with a contact saved only as V. The messages were encrypted, but a few had come through in plain text. Payment confirmed. $50,000. The girl is getting too close. Handle it. Make it look like an accident. Just like before. Just like before. The phone slipped from my hands, clattering onto the marble. I grabbed it, my heart in my throat, and quickly placed it back where I found it. Just like before. 3 years ago, my mother died in a hit and run. The police called it an accident. A drunk driver who was never found. Case closed. But what if it wasn't an accident? What if it was murder? Looking for something? I spun around so fast I nearly knocked over a vase. Vivienne stood in the doorway, her eyes fixed on my face. How long had she been watching? Your phone, ma'am. You left it on the sideboard. I was just about to bring it to you. She moved toward me with the grace of a predator. How thoughtful. She picked up the phone, her perfectly manicured fingers closing around it. Tell me, Isabelle, do you make a habit of touching things that don't belong to you? No, ma'am. I apologize. It won't happen again. See that it doesn't. She tilted her head, studying me with those cold blue eyes. You know, you remind me of someone. Can't quite place it. She circled me slowly. The eyes, I think. Or maybe the chin. Something familiar. My mouth went dry. I just have one of those faces, ma'am. She didn't look convinced. How long have you been working here, Isabelle? 2 weeks, ma'am. 2 weeks. And in those 2 weeks, have you noticed anything unusual? Anything you might want to share with me? Was she testing me? Threatening me? No, ma'am. Nothing unusual. Good. She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Because I'd hate for anything unfortunate to happen to you. This house can be dangerous for people who stick their noses where they don't belong. The previous maid learned that the hard way. The previous maid? She fell down the stairs. Tragique accident. Broke her neck. Vivienne's smile widened. These marble floors are so slippery. You should be careful, Isabelle. Very, very careful. She walked away, leaving me standing there, trembling. It wasn't a warning. It was a threat. And suddenly, I realized, Vivienne knew. Maybe not who I really was, but she knew I was danger. She'd been watching me, just as I'd been watching her. This wasn't just about revenge anymore. This was about survival. That night I couldn't sleep. I lay in my small bed in the servants' quarters, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing. The encrypted messages. My mother's accident. The previous maid's fall. It was all connected. It had to be. But I needed proof. Real undeniable proof. At 2 a.m, I made a decision. I got dressed, grabbed my phone, and crept through the silent house toward Vivienne's suite. The door was locked, but I'd learned to pick locks years ago, back when I was investigating my mother's death. The room was dark, filled with expensive perfume and silk. I moved quickly, searching through drawers, closets, looking for, I didn't know what. Evidence. Answers. Something. That's when I found it. Hidden in a locked drawer in her vanity, another phone. A burner phone. My hands shook as I powered it on. No password. Why would there be? No one was supposed to find this. I scrolled through the messages, and my entire world tilted. Messages to V going back 3 years. Instructions for surveillance. Payments. And then dated exactly 3 years and 2 months ago. The woman knows about the girl. She's threatening to go public. This needs to be handled permanently. Understood. Baiklah Aksidin. Yes. Make it clean. Price. $100,000. Half now, half when it's done. I had to cover my mouth to keep from screaming. The phone nearly fell from my shaking hands. Vivienne had killed my mother. She'd ordered it like she was ordering takeout. Cold. Calculated. For money. But why? What did Vivienne care about my mother's threats? Unless. I scrolled further back. And there it was. A message from a contact saved as R. Handle the problem with the woman and her daughter. I can't have this coming out before the IPO. Pay her whatever it takes. If she won't take the money, make her disappear. Permanently. Richard. My father hadn't just abandoned me. He'd ordered my mother's death. If you're as shocked as Isabelle right now, wait until you see what happens next. Drop a comment below telling me. Do you think Richard really ordered the hit? Or is there more to this story? And make sure you're subscribed with notifications on because part 2 is going to blow your mind. Trust me, the biggest twist is still coming.